So we'll go ahead and start seated like we always do so that we can just kind of check in with ourselves today and see how everything's feeling. So as you find your seated posture, make sure you feel steady, you feel comfortable, you feel aligned and straight, and also relaxed. If you're comfortable with your eyes closed, close your eyes and then take a big breath in. Big sigh through the mouth. It just kind of signals to us that we're ready to begin. So we start feeling into our bodies, feeling the spots that would like us to give them a little bit of love, feeling the spots that are working phenomenally well without our help, and acknowledging all of it. And then we begin to breathe a little deeper and slower. We check in with our thoughts, our emotions, our energy. And then we go ahead and bring palms together in front of the heart, taking the opportunity to set an intention for our practice. So we want to make sure that we get what we need from the practice we're about to do. So just take a deep breath in through your nose as you state your intention to yourself and to the big world. And exhale through the mouth. Let your arms relax, roll your shoulders back a couple of times, and then you can just transition onto your hands and knees. And we'll go ahead and start with a nice little cat-cow stretch. So inhaling to arch and exhaling to round. And then I'm going to have you just switch this into a lateral movement, but we'll do it in time with our breath, but we'll do it with our feet as well. So here's what I'm going to have you do. As you inhale, take both feet to the right, and then exhale, look over your right shoulder. Inhale, so you can feel your left rib cage open. And then exhale again. Inhale, take both feet to the left. Exhale, look over your left shoulder. Inhale, so you can feel your right rib cage expand. And exhale. Let's go one more time on each side. Inhale, both feet to the right. Exhale, look over your right shoulder. Inhale again. And exhale. Inhale, both feet to the left. Exhale, look over your left shoulder. And then inhale again. And exhale. Inhale your feet back to the center. And as you exhale, just take a child's pose. From our child's pose, we'll scoot forward into Sphinx and just kind of lengthen out for a moment. So making sure that your glutes are relaxed. Pull with your forearms, drive a little bit of length into the low back. And then downward facing dog. Once you've had a moment to kind of refine your down dog and see what's going on in your body, we'll walk the feet forward. Keep the knees bent as you get towards the front of the mat. Keep your neck totally relaxed. Make sure your neck is relaxed here.
feeling as though you're somewhere close to vertical. You won't be truly vertical, but you want to have enough alignment that the weight of your head is actually pulling some length into your spine. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up. Reach the arms up and overhead, stretch up, spread the fingers, keep breathing here, hold the pose. And then on your next exhale, palms together in front of the heart, finding a nice, straight, aligned spine. And then let's inhale, reach the arms up, and as you fold forward, reach out, lengthen your spine. As you go all the way down to a standing forward bend, lengthen your spine again as you come halfway up for a half forward bend, and then all the way back down. Step back with your left foot. Just hold your lunge for a couple of breaths here. And just make sure that your lower leg on your right side is vertical, so you don't want your foot way back and your knee shooting forward. And then once you make sure that your right shin is aligned, kind of try and press back through your left heel and let the hips drop towards the mat a little bit. And then drop your left knee down and put your right hand on the inside of your right knee. Roll to the outside of your right foot first, and then begin to apply a little bit of pressure to the inside of your right thigh, right knee. So we're just looking for some sensation in that right outer hip. And our outer hips are going to be our emphasis today. Yay! So we'll take a couple of extra breaths here. Go ahead and extend your right leg, flex the ankle and toes, and we'll find some length in the right hamstring, maybe even the right calf. And then bend the right knee, bring the arms up and overhead. We're going to tilt the pelvis back, lift the rib cage, let the hips move forward. So remember, you're not trying to get all soft and slack and bendy here. You're actually trying to keep that left glute pretty tight and move the hips forward until you feel sensation in the front of your left hip. So you're actually trying to really focus on the front of the left hip. You might be able to go a lot farther and look different if you let go of that, but it would not serve you well. Take one more breath here. And then bring the hands down, and we're going to step straight back to down dog. Just press those hips back. And step your left foot forward. And so just like we did on the other side, just take a moment to make sure that you're aligned. You want your left lower leg to be straight up and down. So you want the left knee vertically stacked over the left heel. And then if you can, kind of press back through the right heel and let your hips drop towards the mat. We are looking for length and space. And then drop the right knee down. Bring your left hand to the inside of that left knee. First, you're going to roll onto the outside edge of the left foot. Then you're going to apply a little bit of pressure. Just trying to find some sensation in that left outer hip. And then from here, we'll lengthen the left hamstring. So just extend that leg all the way out. If you can, dorsiflex the ankle and the toes. And then we'll bend the left knee, bring the arms up and overhead. Very strongly tilt the pelvis back. You're going to feel your right buttock tighten, and I want you to keep it tight as you let the hips move forward, just until you feel that sensation of stretch on the front of the right hip. Let it be all about that. Bring your hands down, step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. So we're going to go right into some of the fun stuff. I want you to take your feet to the edges of the mat. Toes point directly forward, and be impeccable in your alignment, because I'm going to let you do the one where your toes point out. But here's what we're going to do first. Keep the toes parallel. Keep the heels flat. Everything else can be modified and adapted. Begin to drop your tailbone. You should stick it back. Don't let everything go forward. You can rest your hands, your forearms on your thighs. If you can keep dropping the tailbone, maybe you can rest your hands on the floor. If you can, you let the tailbone drop all the way down and you lift your heart. We're going to take 3 slow breaths here. And then you can go ahead and come on back up to standing. Now you can do what a lot of you probably want to do, which is let your toes rotate out a little bit. But here's the deal. Your knees need to follow your toes, so be conscious of the angle of your feet. And I want you to be conscious of how this feels right where your hips and thighs attach, like where your legs attach to your torso. So again, heels are flat. You can put your forearms on your thighs or hands on the floor, or just drop the buns all the way down. And notice that this feels quite different. Your muscles are activated in a different way. 3 breaths. Come all the way back up, and you can bring your feet together. Palms together. Inhale, reach your arms up and stretch. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And then exhale, back down. We're going to step back with our left leg, spin the heel flat, and come up into a warrior 2. And I want you to just take a moment and make sure that your alignment is correct. So your right foot needs to be parallel to the long sides of the mat. Be really particular about that today. Left foot slightly angled in. Be particular about that too. Left leg straight, right knee bent. Torso is ideally up and down, and your arms are out to the side. Now, imagine your thighs are rolling outward, external rotation. And don't move your right foot, but really strongly push your knee towards your little toe. You're going to feel this outer right hip really working. Stay with it. Now I'm going to be nice because this is the soft and slow class. So we're going to straighten the right leg. Put the left hand on the left thigh. Reach the right arm up and over. It's a variation on a reverse warrior born out of kindness for your right hip. Come back up. Bend your right knee again, warrior 2. Same thing applies. Roll the hips out. Push your right knee towards the little toe. Now, if you can, you'll take your right hand to the floor inside your right foot. And if you can't, you can use a block, which would be best. Or if you need to, you can put your right forearm on your right thigh. When you get wherever you're going, I want you to notice if you're trying to lean forward and poke your bum out, I want you to do the opposite. I want you to try and tuck your tailbone under. If your right hand is on the ground, it's almost like you're leaning back against your right leg. If your forearm is on your right thigh, same thing. You want to kind of push your tailbone under and press the right knee out so that you're feeling it in your right outer hip. Come all the way back up. You can straighten your right leg again. Rotate around, bring your hands to the mat. Those of you doing vinyasas may now take one. The rest of us are going to go straight to downward facing dog. Press it back. Don't worry, I'll give you a child's pose in a moment. Lengthening, lengthening, lengthening in your down dog. Everybody should be in down dog by now. So we're going for the other side. Take your left foot forward. Spin your right foot flat. And come up into your warrior two. Left foot, you're very particular, is parallel to the long sides of the mat. Right foot is kind of rotated in. You're rolling your thighs outward and pushing that left knee towards the little toe. And you can feel a lot of action in this left outer hip. Hang in there, a couple more breaths. And then straighten your left leg. Right hand on right thigh, left arm up and over. Variation on a reverse warrior. Come on back up, left knee bends again. Warrior two, keep all of those activations going. So again, either left hand to the ground, inside the left foot, right hand to the ceiling. Left hand can be on a block or left forearm can be on your thigh. Any of those are fine, but be careful of not like leaning forward and sticking your butt out, right? You want to actually lean back. It's like you're trying to tuck your tailbone under while you're rolling your thighs out and pressing your left knee towards your little toe. You should feel it. All right, one more breath. Coming up, and you can straighten your left leg again. And then we're going to take the hands to the mat. I want you to go to down dog again and stretch. Those of you taking vinyasas, off you go. Those of you with me, I told you I'd give you one. Drop to your knees and take a child's pose. Take a breath. That's a lot of work. If you're in child's pose, go ahead and scoot into either Sphinx or Cobra, whichever one suits you today. And then from there, we'll move into downward facing dog again. Stretch it back. And then walk your feet forward. Keep the knees bent, hang for a moment. As you're hanging here with your knees slightly bent, begin to straighten them, see what that feels like. Then go ahead and inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Turn sideways. Take a moderately wide step. So I'd like your feet to be wider than your shoulders, but not crazy wide. And I want you to rotate your toes out. It's going to be like before, your knees have to follow your toes, so don't rotate your feet so far that your knees can't follow them. You may need to adjust the angle of your feet. So we're going to be moving into a goddess squat here. I want your torso to remain vertical and your knees to strongly press out to the side. So when you start to bend your knees, they should not be closer together than your feet are, if that makes sense to you. Just bring your palms together in front of your heart. Keep your chest lifted. Slowly begin to bend your knees and press them strongly to the sides. Keep the torso lifted. So a lot of people like to poke their bum out. I want you to keep it tucked under. It's like you're sliding down a wall. Knees are pressing out very strongly. Outer hips are really engaged. We got 2 more breaths here. Straighten your legs. Bring the feet in. You can even wiggle your bum if you need to.
and come back up to the front of the mat. Big inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale and fold forward. Look up halfway and then back down. So we're going to step back to downward facing dog. Stretch it back. And then you can go on whichever side you want, but I'm going to suggest you stick with me. I'm going to take my left foot forward first so that I can face you and you can see what's going on. Left foot forward, right foot flat, coming into warrior two. Find your alignment. And then my suggestion is that you angle your left foot in slightly. I kind of point mine towards the right upper corner of the mat. You begin to rotate right toes towards the ceiling. You keep your left heel flat, very important, and you start to drop your buns. So maybe you have your hands on a block, or maybe you're going to keep your hands on your thigh. Maybe you're going to bring your hands to the floor. The idea is, if possible, that the palms come together and you press against the inside of this left thigh. So you're still getting that left outer hip, very activated. You only go as far as you can. Now we take one more breath. And then we just bring the hands to the mat. Rotate the feet around so that we're in a lunge. If you have knee issues, you're going to flip onto your back for a figure four with your left ankle over your right knee. If your knees can handle it, you will drop your right knee to the mat and walk the left foot over for pigeon. Just like that, coming onto the forearms if you can, sliding your right leg back. Yes, you're feeling your left glute, but hallelujah, you get to stay here for a few breaths. At least you're not moving, right? So take some deep breaths. Let that left glute relax. Two more breaths here. And if you're in a figure four stretch, you'll want to come back to downward facing dog now. If you're in pigeon, we'll go to down dog. But as soon as we get there, we're going to take the left leg up into the air, bend the knee, and let that left hip roll open. Take a couple of breaths. And put your left foot back down. So we're going to do all of that on the other side. Step your right foot forward. Spin that left heel flat. You're going to come up into a warrior two. Just like we did on the other side, I'm going to recommend you rotate your right foot in a little bit. Maybe point the toes at the upper left corner of your mat. You can adjust that foot, by the way. Remember, hands can be on your thigh, your block, the floor. Right heel stays flat. Left toes start to point at the ceiling. Now we begin to drop the tailbone. If you can get your hands off the floor, palms are together and you're pushing the back of your right arm against the inside of your right thigh to get that outer hip activation. And we breathe. From here, we just spin all the way around, so we're in a lunge, yay. If you've got sensitive knees, now you flip on your back and you do a figure four with your right ankle over your left knee. Otherwise, you drop the left knee down and you walk your right foot over. Let the right knee come down and slide your left leg back for pigeon. So now you should be feeling it in your right glute, right buttock, and you just hang out and breathe.
If you're in figure 4, you're going to want to find your way back to downward facing dog. If you're with me, we're moving into downward facing dog. And you're going to just stick that right leg back behind you into the air, bend the knee, roll the hip bone open to stretch. Right foot comes back down, downward facing dog. Those of you doing vinyasas may take one. The rest of us are going to take a child's pose. Knees down, buns down, forehead down. Take a couple of breaths. And then scoot forward into Sphinx or Cobra, whatever works for you today. And then we'll do downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward. Standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. All right, you have already done a lot of squatting and you've done either a reclined figure 4 or a pigeon, so your body is ready for our balance pose. You're gonna cross your right ankle over your left knee. We're standing on the left leg first. Flex your right ankle. Woo, arms overhead. Keep that right ankle flexed, and I want you to keep your left heel flat. Start poking your tailbone out behind you as you bend your left knee. And you begin to reach forward, lengthening your spine over your right shin until you feel your right glute. Come on up, right foot on the ground. Left ankle crosses, right knee, left ankle flexes. Arms come up and overhead. Same thing, we start poking the tailbone back. Keep your right heel flat. Start to bend your right knee. Lengthen forward, forward, forward over your left shin until you feel this in your left glute. And come back up. Both feet on the ground. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Move back onto hands and knees. Wag your tail a moment. So for some of you, this is easy. For some of us, it's challenging. And if you have knee issues, it may simply be a no. Like you may just wait this one out. So please be mindful. This is moving into the leg position for Gomukhasana, or cow face pose. And so if you can, you'll bring your left leg behind your right leg and put that knee and foot back down on the ground. So now your knees are crossed. Begin to separate the feet and begin to sit back. You may not go all the way back, or maybe you will. And ideally your right knee is on top of your left and you're trying to get your spine nice and straight. If you have tighter hips like I do, you're going to feel this in your right outer hip and your right glute. Some of you guys have very supple hips, which is fantastic, and so you might not be feeling it, and that's wonderful. Some of you have sensitive knees, and so you shouldn't even be doing it, and so that should feel wonderful too. Let's go ahead and come out the same way we went in. Come back onto your hands and knees. Take that left knee out, wag your tail. Now we're going to bring the right knee behind the left knee, so both knees are on the ground. We separate the feet and we start to sit back between them. So you're trying to get that left glute to the ground. If you can, and some of you can, and some of us can't, and so we're feeling it. We're gonna take one more breath, and if this is a no-no for your knees, wait it out, we're almost done. If you're in Gomukhasana with me, you're gonna come back out, hands and knees. Give your tail a good wag. Those of you doing vinyasas, you may take this final one. The rest of us will take a final child's pose. And then scoot into one last Sphinx or Cobra. And then downward facing dog. So from your downward facing dog, once you've really lengthened your spine and your glutes and your hamstrings, because you're pressing your heels down, you're reaching your tailbone up, you're pushing through your palms, then you may walk your feet forward and have a seat coming into Dandasana. So find your sit bones, align your spine, align your head, activate your legs and feet, and just kind of pause and check in. And then from here, we're going to keep the right leg straight. Bend the left knee, bring it to the inside of the right thigh, lean out over the right leg. Just take a few breaths in your forward bend. I want you to come up from that. Pick your left knee up, and we're going to move the left foot a little to the left. So I want you to have, I usually use the width of my palm to measure the distance between my right knee and my left foot. So you want to have at least, 4, maybe 5 inches, a little bit of space. And then what I want you to do is bring your left arm to the inside of your left thigh, and you're going to lean out again over your right leg and really hug that left inner thigh towards your torso. So we're going to come up from that and move into a twist to the left. Even if you don't get your right elbow or arm outside of that left knee, even if you're hugging it, one of the things we're going to do is keep the left foot flat and the left bun down and kind of pull the left knee towards the midline of the body to get a little bit of an outer hip stretch. So your left arm is behind you. You can hug the left knee, or you can bring that right arm outside of it if possible. Once you get your twist, I want you to kind of use a little bit of leverage or pressure and get that left knee to move slightly towards the midline of the body, and see if you can find some sensation in your left outer hip. Rotate around to the front, extend your left leg. You can give both legs a wiggle. And then keep your left leg straight. Right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. And we just lean out over the left leg for a few breaths. From here, we come up and we pick the right knee up. And then we move the right foot a little bit away from the left thigh. So again, you can use the width of the palm of your hand to measure that much space between your right foot and your left leg. And then bring your right arm inside your right knee or thigh. Lean out over your left leg again and hug that right knee in towards your torso. So you don't want it to drop open. You want to use those muscles. And then we're going to come up and turn it into the twist. So you're just going to bring your right arm behind you. Remember, even if you're just hugging the knee, you can still kind of pull that knee in a little towards the midline of the body to get some outer hip sensation. Or you can bring that left arm outside of the leg. But once you get into your twist, press a little bit against the outside of your right leg and see if you can find a little bit of outer hip sensation. Come all the way back around, extend your right leg out. Give both legs a really good wiggle. And then from here, we're gonna roll onto our backs. Hug the knees in. Give yourself that nice, yummy side to side rock. And then we're gonna do a couple of outer hip stretches down here to kind of hit that IT band outer edge of the hip. So the first thing we're gonna do is put the right foot flat on the mat with the knee bent. Cross your left ankle over your right knee and flex the ankle. We're not doing a figure four though. Once you get into that position, all you're going to do is drop your right leg all the way over to the right. I want you to get the entire sole of your left foot onto the floor with your left knee pointing at the ceiling. So that left foot's totally flat, particularly the big toe side. Then you're going to use your right hand and actually push against the inside of your left thigh, still keeping that left foot flat. You should feel something in your left outer hip. Now, for those of you that are more flexible, if you don't feel it, legs stay the same, but your right knee, which is the one that's on the floor, you're just going to kind of bring it up towards your right armpit a little bit. So in other words, you're shortening the angle at your right hip. And again, you push the left inner thigh with your right hand. Be mindful to not roll over onto your right side. We're trying to keep left shoulder blade and everything down. We just want this left outer hip IT band area to have some sensation. Couple more breaths here. Go ahead and bring the legs back up. You can take your left foot off the right knee, put it on the mat, left foot flat, right ankle crosses left thigh just above the knee, and you flex that right ankle, press that right knee out. Then we just drop that left leg over to the left. Once your right foot hits the ground, make sure the whole sole of your right foot's touching the ground. Use your left hand on the inside of your right thigh and push on it a little bit. Shoulder blades, hopefully, are both down. Remember, the whole sole of your right foot is touching the ground. So the base of the big toe, the pads of the toes, everything, and you're pressing against the inside of the right thigh. Slowly bring your legs back up. Uncross them, hug them in, rock side to side. Then we're going to take the feet outside the mat. Keep your feet nice and flat. Keep them wide. Hopefully your feet are off your mat on either side, so you should be feeling the floor or carpet. And we're going to take this slow. You're going to drop both knees to your left. Just pause for a moment. Now, if you're already feeling this in the right outer hip, you're good. If you want more, the first thing I'd like you to do is just look down at your legs. If you have a straight line from your right armpit through your right hip to your right knee,
you're good. But if your right knee is farther in, just move your right foot farther out. So you're trying to get a totally straight line from your armpit through your hip to your knee. Now, if you've got that going on and you're still not feeling enough, then if you want, you can put your left foot on top of the right knee and let the left leg relax. And you got a little bit of leverage here. Again, you should have both shoulder blades on the ground. And hopefully both buns are pretty close to the ground. We're not trying to create any sensation in the low back. We only want to feel this in the right outer hip, or some of you guys might feel it a little bit in the top of the thigh. Those are the places we want to feel it. Couple more breaths on this side. So if your left foot is on your right knee, you're going to take it off. You're going to put it back outside the mat to the left. Then we're going to just drop both knees over to the right and just wait. Don't rush. If you're already feeling enough, you're good. If you're not feeling enough, first you're going to look down and see if you have a straight line from your left armpit through your left hip and through your left knee. If you don't, adjust it so that you do, and then check again. How does that feel? If you're still not feeling enough, then you put your right foot on top of your left knee. Let the right leg relax. And just let that left outer hip and maybe a little bit of the top of the thigh stretch and open. And then we take the right foot off. I'd like you to put your right foot back outside the right side of your mat. Let both knees point back up at the ceiling. Make sure your feet are still wide. Now prop your knees together. If they can't touch, bring the feet in a little bit. If your knees are touching and you can keep them touching and take the feet wider, then do that. We should all be getting to a spot where we feel this in the outer hips, but it's different than that last stretch. So take a couple breaths. And then you can hug your knees in and rock side to side. For our inversion today, we're going to do bridge pose, and I'll throw a little bit of an optional twist into it. So if you're able to do this without a block today, that would be great. But if you need to use a block because of back issues, please do. All right, let's put the feet down with the big toes touching and the heels apart, heels pretty close to your backside. Go ahead and lift up into your best bridge for today, whatever that looks like today. You're welcome to interlace fingers underneath you if that's something you like to do, but you don't have to. So once you've really lifted the hips up, I want you to just kind of push them over to the right, hold it, hold it, hold it. Push them over to the left, hold it, hold it, hold it. You're still pressing up, by the way. And then come back to the center. And hold it, hold it, hold it for 3 more breaths. And slowly roll down. Hug your knees in and rock side to side. From here, we just have a nice, gentle twist. So all we're going to do is keep the knees bent and together and drop them over to the right. Let your left arm open out to the left. Your palms should be facing up. Your face should be facing left. And you relax and just enjoy this twist. We're here for 6 breaths. So just really kind of soften into it. On your next inhale, bring both knees up. And as you exhale, just let them drop over to the left. Right arm is opening out to the right. Your palm is facing up. Your face is turned to the right. And you're relaxing here for 6 slow breaths. On your next inhale, bring those knees back up, and as you exhale, hug the knees in. Reach down and grab the outside edges of your feet and just explore what you've accomplished with your practice today. So you did a lot of outer hip stuff. You should feel a difference here as you're kind of rolling around and playing with the hips and thighs and back in your happy baby. Just enjoy. When you feel like you're ready, bring the soles of the feet together with the knees dropping open all the way down onto the mat. And let's lengthen the low back a little bit. So on your next inhale, press your low back into the mat. Hold it while you breathe. On your next exhale, release, relax, soften. One more time, inhale, flatten your back. And then exhale and release and extend your legs. So I recommend you do a little internal, external rotation, which basically means you're just gonna roll your thighs in and out a couple times and then just let them flop. Make sure your glutes are relaxed. The spine feels lengthened, the neck is long. Your shoulders are relaxed, your arms are relaxed, your jaw is relaxed, your face is relaxed. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through your mouth, releasing everything, letting go of remaining muscular tension, letting go of control of the breath, just letting go. As you feel your body really releasing and your breath getting gentler, slower, more even, I want you to just keep your focus on your breath. And now every time you breathe in, your mind is going to say the word let, and every time you breathe out, your mind will say the word go. Not controlling the breath, not actually vocalizing the word, just thinking it. Every time you breathe in, let. Every time you breathe out, go. Continue to think the word let when you breathe in and the word go when you breathe out.
If you notice yourself thinking of other things, that's okay. Just gently bring your attention back to your breath, back to those two words that you repeat with each inhale and exhale. Let go. And now release those words and just let your awareness stay with the inhale and the exhale. Just awareness of breathing in and breathing out. And then just start allowing that awareness to shift now from your breath into your body. I want you to feel how your body feels as a result of the physical practice, but also this relaxation. And then notice your thoughts, notice any emotions, notice your energy. Start to move your fingers and toes, start to deepen your breath. When you're ready, breathe in deeply and extend your fingers and spread your toes, and then exhale with a sigh and relax them. And then again, breathe in deeply and just stretch your whole body out. And exhale and relax. Bend your knees, hugging them in if that feels good to you, or just letting the feet rest flat on the mat with the knees pointing up. And you can go ahead and roll to your right side. And press yourself up into sitting. Finding that same comfortable, steady, straight, aligned spine that you had at the beginning of your practice today. So for our breath work, we're going to do a different variation on an alternate nostril breath. What I'd like you to do first is choose what you're going to do with your hand. So I need you to use your right hand to block the nostrils. Traditionally, we take the first two fingers of the right hand and kind of tuck them under the pad of the thumb so that those two bent fingers rest under the nostrils, and you're in perfect position to use your right thumb to block your right nostril, your right ring and pinky finger to block the left. Now, if that feels awkward to you, those same first two fingers can rest in the center of your forehead, and then you're still set up in the same way. Thumb blocks the right nostril, ring and pinky block the left. So choose your hand position. Left hand can do whatever makes you happy today. Here's your breath pattern though, and you'll need to know what you're doing because I'm just going to turn you loose with it. You don't have to count the breath or do any particular ratios, but we're going to be doing 9 breaths. You're going to do the first 3, inhaling through the right side, exhaling through the left side. 3 breaths. Then you're going to let your right hand relax and take 3 normal breaths. Then you're going to inhale through the left and exhale through the right for 3 breaths. Okay? And when you're done with all 9 breaths, palms will come together. Now, I don't want you to rush through the breaths. I want these to be really slow, deep, full yoga breaths. But again, you don't have to count. Just make these really slow, relaxed, yummy breaths. 3, inhaling right, exhaling left. 3, normal, both nostrils relaxed. 3, inhaling left, exhaling right. Okay? So that's your mission, should you choose to accept it. We'll all begin together, and then I want you to just go at your own rate. So take a deep breath in through both nostrils, and exhale through both nostrils, and then off you go. So as you're finishing out and bringing your palms together in front of your heart, just take the opportunity to check in with yourself one more time, noticing how you feel in all realms. Your body, your breath, your mind, your heart, your energy. And then we take a moment in gratitude for everything that you just felt. In the yoga tradition, we are exactly where we should be, as we should be, all the time. Take one more huge inhale through the nose. Big sigh. Palms to the forehead, reminding us to be present. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And palms to the heart, reminding us to practice kindness, compassion, and love always. Thank you so much for being here with me to practice. Namaste.